Oh, and then we need to make sure that.
What do we do? Is it the R? Okay, so that's showing now.
So
Yep.
this is
Okay.
now what I'm going to do is I'll move all this stuff after. Now we are going to
I need like 5 screens for this.
and make sure that you don't click into the embedded video that's going to show. But I'm going to do start this event. Are you guys on this page?
Uh-huh.
I will put it in our Google chat. This is their direct page. I'm going to start the event. And I still want to do a banner. Oh, did it automatically? Ooh.
Oh, I like the welcome message. Good job, babe.
Oh,
right.
that.
And it's automatically muted for them. So we need to make sure that we note that the embed is muted.
Hold on. Why is this like this?
Because
my big long.
Because that's what.
Well, how do I edit it? People are coming in. Oy vey. Okay.
Oy vey.
Oh, she hit the.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Okay, hold on. We will. Welcome, everybody. Oh, goodness.
Hi, friends.
Howdy, howdy. Happy Friday.
This is what happens before we click go live in our normal big marker. This is us in the green room right now. So let me see if I can edit this.
What are you trying to accomplish here so I can help you?
Well, doesn't it look, doesn't this look disastrous?
It's not ideal.
Mine doesn't.
Ignore the inception, but you see what I'm talking about.
Oh, why that's bigger that
I'm
way?
assuming it's because I did this description.
Oh, so that way it's super long?
Yeah, so I want to say, let me just go back.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know that you can change it now, babe, because it's already live.
Well, you know what? We're going to give it the old college try.
Okay.
Andrea, what college did you go to?
Baker College.
Where's that?
Over here in Muskegon, and then I finished it online. Unofficially, I went to Alma, though, because one of my best friends went there, and I think I was there like every weekend. Yeah.
Turn on your pack. Name that movie. Name that movie.
I cannot. Eric, do you know? Because I'm over here like, what's she got in her drink over there?
There's a couple of movies. It's in the first one.
National Lampoons.
Nope. It's very.
Did you just crack a beer?
Mm-mm. Monster.
It's a big boy. Tall boy.
Tall boy. Sorry. I was like, okay.
All right, I gotta do this. What was I gonna do?
You're gonna change the description.
Okay. And you fool around, Andrea, with the studio stuff and the DJ and stuff, while I look at the live topic to see if I can. Is anybody chatting yet?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
I wonder if it has to do with the embed, like on the YouTube studio where you had like, weren't there features there where you're able to like, you were embedding it back into InVision? I wonder if you just have to get that.
I feel like it could be InVision trying to help us out with all of our message back and forth, but I feel like I can tell.
I think it's because the right side's so long. This is something that they're going to be fixing, though.
Can you take a screenshot?
Hold, please.
What's your name? Aubrey?
Andrea.
Aubrey.
Do you know the backstory behind Aubrey?
I don't, but.
We had a guy in our office. He's not with us anymore, but because Melissa
he's still alive, but
like,
he's not.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's just not with us at CDW. We were in that room for like over 8 months. Like all of us were in this room, right? He called me Aubrey. He called Melissa Melanie, Melissa, or Milani, or something, right? Like
Melanie.
Melanie. But it was like, Baby, we've been in this room together for 8 months, like talking almost every day. Like it would be like, hey, good morning. And you don't know my name? Like it was Aubrey, Audrey. Sometimes he said Andrea. And it was like, whatever.
He was
very sweet.
Yeah.
He was very sweet.
So I'm gonna put a bar up. We're live. Click here and let's do link to URL. I will link to this. If anybody's watching, even if you're if you're a CW, chat it up.
Make sure that you tell us you can hear us. Oh, you want to know why I can't? Because we're not live yet, so I can't be flipping back and forth with what we're seeing. Like I don't have the DJ options when we're not live in Big Marker.
Oh, okay. All right, so let me do this. Floating up on top, it goes directly to this. Link to Europe, we're live. Join our pregame.
Oh, my Rob!
I knew we could cut on Rob. You can see this announcement. No beta users, no Labs Club only. Oh, Lab Club only. Let's do this. Everywhere. We'll do, there is only a couple of colors. We'll do the off red, or Andrea will complain about it again. So
I was like, why are there multiple colors of red? Like just one red, guys. One red.
If one of you want to check, refresh and check out the Envision site just to see if that works.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We got this. Let's go here.
Fred, where are you? Oh, you're just landing in Charlotte. Okay. Where are you going?
Let's do this.
See, I don't see chat apparently then, because I don't see anything.
In the live topic on the bottom underneath Melissa's novel, you don't see a general or a staff?
I see a general and a staff, but I see nothing being populated there. Like no anything.
Refresh your screen.
Roger. And...
Gotcha, Fred. All right, Melissa, are you ready for me to start the webinar in Big Marker?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I mean, we should have started that at any time. But you know what else is weird?
Yeah, I don't see chat at all.
Hold up. It's whoever wrote this description really messed up. I can't see any of the main questions.
I can't see.
There's no main questions yet.
Shouldn't there be a?
No.
Okay,
nobody's put a question in there, and we remind everybody a question.
Going on? And then I'm going to do this. Convert to a question. Okay. All right. Talk me off the ledge on that one.
Goodness.
I feel like we're just doing an extension of our updates and analysis meeting. We're one past, but that's okay. Let's do.
I'm gonna screenshot this so I can troubleshoot this later
because
I don't see this.
Let me see what comes across when we do this. Hold on. I'm waiting for
see the lag time.
Did we not say up by where it says screen? Oh, it does. Dang, that delay is a little bit longer than 4 seconds. Say that, or I'm counting fast. Okay. All right. Let's get the party started here.
Oh my God, I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's
Friday.
Do
we have everything? I've got the big marker.
Big marker's going.
Here. You're going to be DJ.
I'm DJing. Live stream's going. People can hear and see us.
But you're not. Okay.
Yeah,
now you did it. Why is it a blank screen?
I know that's not what it said yesterday. That's why it threw me. I'm like, maybe I'm
keep it here. I just want to see it change on. I've got over here the live topics.
Oof.
Topic.
Girl. The main.
I'm gonna send this in chat because I don't see the chat at all in Envision at all. Like,
yeah, I do see that, Eric.
It's okay. Yeah, so it's running off the page for me. Like, I got a CSS issue over here. So
is it really?
It's all stemming from Melissa Benson's
who's her?
Clear and concise ability. I wonder if we can call on Marshall and have him go on the back end and
back Marshall. Hey Marshall.
add edit video, add hosts. Okay.
Eric, what happens if you toggle
Gosh.
full screen?
Yeah.
If I toggle full
That-
screen,
that-
same.
see
I
your-
mean, it makes it more concise, but now I can't see. Like, I can click general and staff. Those are the only two tabs I can actually hit. I
But
can
you-
see that something's happening in general because I have a circle there. So clearly that means activity, but I can't see anything. So
Do a hard refresh, the shift refresh.
Wait, are we even am I even seeing this live? I'm not even seeing this live. Somehow I didn't get.
There's a longer lag right now. Than
Okay.
4 seconds.
Be careful on clicking anywhere in the live topic YouTube embed, because somehow I clicked on it and it was like
Oh, and
5 minutes.
It's
Yeah.
not on live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Red
Eric,
button.
if you do the arrow thing like right within that block, that still doesn't.
yeah, no, I don't. Again, I can see that something's clearly happening because I got indicators, but like it. I mean, it just.
Rob wants to know if you've tried incognito mode.
Yeah. Have you uninstalled all
Have you
of your
uninstalled?
extensions? And
Are you signed in with one profile or multiple?
I do have pending Windows updates. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I mean, I don't know.
why don't you log in as a your demo account? Well, now you can you see the main questions, Eric?
I can see nothing. I mean, it's all cut off. Like
So
I
it's
screen
like
share
your
it.
window
Scrolling
isn't
down.
even.
I can't. Like I'm scrolled all the way down.
Okay. Well, I'll be your commentator then, Eric.
Okay.
I got you.
I'm trying to think of. Let me just look at this one more time. The live topic. Oh, hold on.
We gotta turn it off and turn it back on again.
You cannot edit while it's in process, but is there any other way? No. That's gonna be annoying.
Well, we'll just know. Don't type a novel. Oh, yeah. Beth said, what about zooming in and out? Can you adjust your zoom on the browser?
Oh, good point. Let me try.
Oh, I just assumed you did that already.
Oh my gosh, that's working. Except
About to
now
make an ass out of me.
Whoa! Hold on.
That should not be what it is though, because I was at 100% zoom, and now I can like I have
Yeah, it
contacts
should
in. I
be
can't
at
see what
100.
I'm
You
doing.
should see it. Beth
Wait,
for the
wait.
win. How do I get Beth some ampies in here?
Did
It's
you
coming for you?
Did you have support hours?
Let me
You
hook
are
you up with
negative
Ross to
support
get
hours now.
essentials. Yeah.
It's
All
gonna
right.
cost you,
This
Andrea.
is still.
Asking Beth and Beth providing answer that's gonna cost you money now.
This keeps going.
Ampies to Beth. All right. Let's get the party started because we are 6 minutes over.
Yep. I can see it at least now, even if I can barely do that. So we're better than we were.
He said, let me get my binoculars out.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Extension
All right. All that previous stuff we're going to cut out with our amazing podcast video, all that stuff. So let's pretend that we clicked live.
Yeah.
Welcome to the, I'm already screwing up because I'm seeing myself over here being weird. Welcome to the first ever pre-game to the main game of Google Updates.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers. We're going off the cup.
Off the cup. Everybody else, social. All right.
And my name's Melissa Benson. I am the collaborative community lead here from Minnesota. I've got Monster and Waters by me. And yeah, Eric.
Yeah.
Who are you? What have you been doing?
I'm Eric. I have coffee and water next to me because I am fresh off a plane from Savannah, by the way, representing the Savannah Bananas here.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, I've been wanting to go watch them for so long.
Yeah. Tom, right, my fearless leader in the Great White North of Canada, started collecting minor league baseball shirts. And so now this is also what I would like to do. So this is my first one. Yeah. So got back from Gamus, which is a conference down there in Savannah. I'm from Oklahoma, and I thought I knew what humidity was until I went to Georgia. And I was rudely awakened to how miserably hot it is down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing good. Google for Education training consultant here. Just a fancy way of saying I work in the admin console every day of my life, and I love it. So happy Friday, y'all.
And Andrea,
Yes.
who are you, and what kind of
everybody's
mood can we
friendo.
expect from you?
It's gonna be a little bit spicy until about 5, and then pleasantly sunny and happy until about 12 when I pass out.
Well,
So
typically it's always sassy.
it's a little sassy, but I think a little bit spicy because I got some
Sassy
more
as a
time
service,
management
I
issues today.
heard.
Yeah. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I am the labs queen. All of them are my babies, and I provide entertainment value to the collaborative. So I'm here to make you laugh, if nothing else. So we just wrapped with Summerfest. So you saw Melissa and I yesterday. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm the one that helps make everybody laugh and keep the days going as we try to navigate this thing called life. So
hey, Andrea, can you, when we were doing our prep, that like, oh yeah, there's not gonna be any prep for this, it's gonna be off the cup.
Off the cup.
Yeah. Can you explain to our listeners just how that went and any hurdles that you and I may have ran into?
When I tell you, we put an hour on just so we could test this because neither one of us knew the limitations of either of this. We were just like, hey, they want a podcast. I want to do a podcast. Let's just do a podcast. And Melissa's like, well, let's do it next Friday. And we're like, okay, yeah, we're just going to wing this. Let's go. We were on meets for 7 hours.
And domains.
Oh my goodness. No, neither one of us knew that you couldn't have multiple hosts on YouTube. So that like immediately dropped that. But then what we wanted to do was this live topics thing. So that way it could become a forum. So that way anything can get captured there. But they only currently support YouTube. So we've been working with Envision very closely. We met a new person who's like specialty is live topics. We've worked with him a lot. So this should be getting a lot better here shortly. But in our infinite testing of daisy chaining multiple platforms to YouTube, why we had this whole thing of do not watch yourself and make sure that you are muted in other windows was we realized if you're going from Meet to YouTube, there's like a 45-second delay, if not more. Like it is a ridiculously long delay. So while we were trying to test this, I did not mute one of these windows. And Melissa was like, are you showing me gap test? And I was like, oh no, here, let me pop up gap test. But then 45 seconds later, when the feed caught up and she's like, are you showing gap test? I was like, yeah, this is gap test. Melissa in real time was like, what are you talking about? And then I realized I'm over here talking to Melissa in the past and not the future or the present time Melissa. So
yes, time travel. Love that.
So it's time traveling. So you got a little bit insight of what that future could be like for us if time travel becomes a real thing. And I just think that more than one Melissa or Andrea is gonna be too much for the universe to handle. So
it was because all of my screens went black.
Yeah, it quite literally crashed her Chromebook. So it was a heck of a journey getting here, and I'm doing the best that I can. I don't have a way to show you, but I've got multiple things up saying don't swear. So you might hear me get a little bit of Tourette's moment. But it was a heck of a journey to get here. So I'm very much excited to get the parties on the road to talk about some of these updates, because for me, I don't pay attention to the updates. I wait till Melissa tells me in the live stream. So I think this will keep me ahead, or at least with the times a little bit here.
Same here.
So
I mean,
it'll be a learning experience. Yeah. Or I wait for our little bot in the updates chat to say something fun. So yes.
Eric, let's go ahead and let's start with you on your Gamus recap. What was the scuttlebutt? Did anything fun or not so fun happen? Any of the hot goss? You know,
the amount of vocabulary that you teach me.
Is that what the young kids say now?
Yeah, like the T with a T icon. It's
Kermit the Frog, spill the T.
Yeah.
No, Gamus is great. Like I said, down there in Savannah, Georgia. First time I'd ever been there. Very hot, like I said earlier. Knew nothing like it. We did a 3-hour Google Workspace security workshop, which was the first time I've done that, right? I do boot camps all the time, but one that we did was just specifically related to security. So fundamental security, paid edition security, whether that's, standard or plus, and then tried to end it with some Chrome and Chromebook security. Not going to lie, we did not make it all the way through that slide deck, which honestly, honestly, I always think that's kind of a good thing because that means the discussions were happening, right? If I'm ever not getting through a slide deck, it's because there are people talking about whatever we're doing and sharing with each other, like, hey, here's how we do it, or hey, here's how we do it. And so that's why we.
So what were they most interested in? Like, what was like what?
Yeah, so that was actually part of what I kind of wrote down for today was two things that really stood out was, because during those times we'll have like engagements to say like, hey, do you do this, right? And the schools can see like on a poll on the screen like, oh yeah, here's what the room is doing or not doing. Most notably, I saw two things. One, API controls, which isn't too surprising, right? Like it's been a thing that's been built while it's been flying the plane kind of thing, and so. I would say that I think we had about 50% of the people in that room that said they just hadn't started yet. I even had some people that said, oh boy, this is the first time I've heard of it. So it goes to show you, right, kind of the value in what it is to like repeat some of the stuff over and over and over and hash it out over and over and over, because we know what it's like. Like this is not the only thing you're doing every day. It's just not, right? And so you're doing E-rate, you're doing infrastructure, you're doing instructional, you're arguing with your superintendent. All these things are happening. Meanwhile, you have this avalanche of something called API controls coming down. So I think what we spent probably a good 20 minutes on that discussion, had great questions going on throughout, just kind of like clarifying questions like, oh, well, whatever, this means. We even had some people that are like, hey, I did this last year. I've already trusted these applications. Like, am I good? It's like, well, no, I mean, kind of, but not really.
Right. You got to do it all over again, my dear.
Trust and confirm, right? So like, if you've already done the work, you're further along than some people, but you still need to press an extra button to make sure. But I would say API controls was a big one in terms of just, and of course it's a big one, but just in terms of like knowing, where people are along in that journey and how many people just were surprised to hear about it. So threw in, I think, Melissa, you did that collaborative corner bit.ly or that doc, extremely helpful. And they found that, I mean, there were so many anonymous giraffes clicking on that link in the document. It was great. So the other thing I noticed though, while I was there, and again, like it's different in different places. We did a poll question over like drive sharing, right? Like, do you have walled gardens or do you not, basically? And I was honestly kind of surprised. There was a lot, like I think the majority did not have drive sharing across any of their org units at all. Like no
walled garden for any students?
For anyone. Yeah, like not at all through K-12, which I thought was surprising because that would be something I would consider kind of like,
how far along in adoption were they?
That's maybe a clarifying question I should have asked. I did not, but nonetheless, it's one of those things where it's like, when you look at drive sharing and you look at honestly Gmail kind of stuff, like those are pretty important things, right? Where you want to make, especially at least for your elementary users, right? Making sure that they're protected and at least to the best of your ability. I had a 50% of the people that said that or at least 50% of the people that engaged in that poll saying that they did not have drive sharing enabled. So I don't know. It was one of those things I wanted to bring up because I know I do this. I don't know if anyone else here does, but like I take for granted what I know and what I assume other people know. Right. And it's just like, if you're doing it all the time, every day, like you just start going, oh yeah, this is just what it is. Like, this is whatever. That's not necessarily the case. So like seeing information like that kind of like really drives home. Oh yeah. Like, let's not forget the basics here. Like, we can talk about advanced stuff with API controls and the complexities therein within the admin console, but basics, let's go back to basics with drive sharing, Gmail restrictions. Like, let's not forget those, because we can build all we want on top of that. If we don't have our foundation set, we're building on sand, right? And so I don't know, that was something that I definitely saw at Gamus, and not the only place, obviously. That was just most recent that I've been somewhere and saw that. At the same time, we had people that were in the thick of those paid editions, plus and standard. Because when I mentioned the drive sharing thing, they go, does this have any bearing on us if we're using trust rules? I'm like, if you're using trust rules, bro, you are like in this thing. Like, you're fine. You know what I mean? So that was cool to hear, and like hear the use cases of how they're doing trust rules and stuff in those paid editions. So
I think it's good that you said that, because I have to constantly remind myself that more now than ever, especially in the summer. Like, I help out with support, and I think we just get so used to doing these webinars and everything and just assume that people are like either where we're at with a tool or that they already know like the foundation of how to even get started. So then it's like I'm asking these questions and people are like, baby, I'm at 0. And I'm over here trying to ask you to start at 20. And then I got to retrain myself on how to get back to 0.
Right.
So it's a humbling moment, but then, yeah, you got to like switch those gears for sure.
Right. Which I think, again, just goes to, it shows like the value in what we have. Just to preach on the collaborative again, like the value in that is just that you're going to have people all, different strokes for different folks, different people are coming in. And like, I did this, like started this 10, 11 years ago now, and I did not know what I was doing. And I have to remember, like in that time, there are new people coming in just like I did 10 or 12 years ago. Like every day someone new is coming in, and every day there's like going to be value in providing those basics and understanding that, okay, like one of the guys I met is really cool. His name is Logan. Worked at a school a little bit larger than one I came from, and I'll just show. He came up to me afterwards at the little event we did at CDW afterwards, and he was just like, appreciate you going through that, blah blah blah. Like it just how easily you navigated that console made me realize how far behind I was. I'm like, bro, I'm just waiting for someone to tell me, like, ask a question, I don't know what I'm doing, kind of thing. Like it'll happen eventually, kind of thing. And then just hearing that was encouraging, but at the same time, just knowing like, oh yeah, like we do this a lot, and so there's value in that. Like there's value in
kind of a big deal. We do this a lot.
We do this a lot.
We're kind of a big deal.
It's also the only thing we do, and so I think it's just important to know that, like, if you don't know some of those things, if you're unaware or you're unclear, like it's because you're doing far more things than we're doing when it comes to the stuff, when it comes to managing school districts and ed tech and all that stuff. So don't forget the basics. I think was the thing I recapped the most after going to Gamus.
That actually. That's interesting that and this wasn't even planned. Like, wow. One of the things I forgot what I was going to say. One of the things I want to talk about, and we were talking about in that updates and analysis meeting this morning, is the new non-blog post updates of the new verbiage for the sharing screen. So I posted this in.
You saw that. I didn't see that yesterday, so I'm curious. When I was sharing,
well, you called me a liar about this new searchable.
No, because it was a big thing.
Could.
But when I was sharing, when I was sharing the slide deck for Summerfest with you, I didn't see that. I saw the old verbiage. So I'm wondering, where'd you see that though?
All right, so this is I posted in the community here, and gosh, I think this was a My Drive, something or another, but I was actually sharing with YouTube. Yes, yeah. And so what I saw was when I was sharing this, and I wanted to do the general access here, that this new, I don't even remember what it looked like before. They've changed this like so many times, but I knew that this searchable was different and can find in search results and must have link to access. That verbiage is new. The interface is new. The functionality is not. Now, the reason why I think this is a big deal, and it has to do with training your users, Eric, and, bad drive sharing hygiene. People don't fully understand when you're seeing share anybody with a link or anybody in domain. Really, what does that mean? And so for Google to change this to say searchable, can find in search results, that tells you what is actually going on.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's also interesting too, Lydia had replied to this on almost the opposite side, where she's going to now use that, because what her intent was that her teachers could go and search without having to access it once to have it put into her list. And so she's actually going to start using this because she wants it to come up in the search results. But what we found, and with the bad defaults for years that hopefully we all went away from, is there's just so much of that. And, we've talked about going and doing the tip of going into your drive, and you can do the advanced search. And then for the location, you can do visible to anyone in your domain, right? Do a little search for that, and it brings up in your drive all the stuff that anybody can see, all the students and all that stuff. take it up one step. Now we bring in Amanda and Chad that were in this conversation too this morning. Is this popped up when working with Plus and Cloud Search, and how Cloud Search finds even more, right? Cloud Search not only finds anybody in your domain, but then also anybody with a link. Because technically, anybody with a link, and you can get the link a lot of different ways, it brought up a whole bunch of stuff here. So just, do this in Cloud Search or do this in your Drive with anywhere in your domain, type passwords, type IEP. You're going to find a lot of stuff.
Well, even though document links look cryptic, they're not impossible to just hammer. So brute force, document IDs. And if it said anyone with link, that means anyone with the link. Anyone, not just in your domain. That means anyone. So that means publicly available, unless you have some sort of other barrier to that. But yeah.
So this is, something like it's a small thing, but like this is also combining with, I said this morning, a recent Gopher for Drive feature request post I did in the Labs Club, the file exposure report and everything like that. And it's not an easy solve, right? It's like, oh my gosh, how do I clean all this stuff up? But we know if we were starting from scratch, we'd have great training and we'd have great setups of target audiences, groups, and shared drives, because a lot of the reason I think teachers are wanting to use more of like, I just want to make sure that this math teacher in my group can access, is because they don't know of any other easier way. If I've got 15 people I need to share this with, am I typing 15 people? So before we train people to say, nope, don't use that one big link, it's not reasonable to say, type in all 15.
All 15,
we have to do a target audience. We have to do a nice group. Or even better, a shared drive, so so they can actually do that, because we can't say don't do this without giving them an easy way to do it, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I always say this whenever I'm teaching on something like that too, where this target audiences or really with anything with drive sharing, like end user education matters a lot, and I'm not saying any of that happens overnight. It takes repeated attempts, repeated trainings, repeated emails, all those things, repeated communications, but like. It's also like your teachers are teaching. It's not their job to know the technicals of this stuff. It's not their job to really even understand, like, oh, here's proper shit. Like, is it okay to like inform them? Hey, just FYI, like, here's what happens, blah, blah, blah. Like, of course, but help them help themselves by enabling things like target audiences and things like that. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of make it like a 1-click, 2-click solution for them, as opposed to having to understand the nuances of what happens if it's a publicly shared link kind of thing,
Right. Yep. I agree. And if you ask on the Google search, they're going to tell you the target audience is always the answer.
Yep.
They're not going to recommend doing a shared drive. So I do want to correct myself real quick, Melissa. That option is showing for me in AIT. I had just went into autopilot and changed that to share with anybody with the link and didn't look at it with Amplified IT there first.
This is where now when we're doing the podcast video editing, a graphic comes up and says, Aubrey's wrong.
Right. Boom.
Just kidding.
With the game changer gif.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, let's move on to you, Aubrey. Andrea, for
what?
What
are you asking me first?
It kind of just Aubrey.
Side joke.
It's a side joke. Well, that's for the pre-game after party. Her name's Andrea, but Aubrey is just an inside joke, so I call her.
Maybe if she put her real name on the screen.
There it is. Well, now we've distracted her
earlier, but then Melissa was the one that gave me like a 2-second. Hey, it's about time. What are you asking me?
I want to know what piqued your interest or made you rage. Or annoyed or anything. What did you want to
time to go through the enraged or thing list that we'll be here for a whole nother hour. It's a steady like slot list. So, but what did pique my interest in the updates was the smart chips. So as I'm getting more into usage data, engagement data, so I can start making better content for people, reaching out when tools are not working for them or trying to catch it before things are wrong. The new smart chips updates, being able to convert things a little bit easier, because this is all very much new for me still. I love the smart chips that are like obvious, like put this here, but being able to convert these names so I don't have less columns to mess with. So when I ping Chad and say, hey, I need you to make me a formula because I'm elementary and don't know how to do a formula or a pivot chart, I don't have umpteen million columns for him. I can just make things more condensed as well for me too. So I think
also, so this is, and so this, you picked one that's sneaky update post. This is one of those that new update. So when you
the new update,
when we have those Friday weekly recaps at the end of the week, sometimes they have new updates that are usually minor. So this one is a sneaky one.
Yeah, so this one, because I always want the email, so that way it's easy to go one-stop shop for me to be able to say, here's our name, here's an email for me to reach out to them, or when I'm doing emails with Lori for Drip, I have to have those emails anyway. So having it all in one place is just easier for me too, because I'm sure I'm not the only one whose drive has about 730 billion untitled sheets, or version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of things. So I'm really trying to get more into those chips, just to make my life easier. And then look at those colors, guys. Like,
so you have to
colors,
so in a sheet you have the name, and then you highlight, and then you do a tab.
I believe that's what that person is doing in that video.
Is
copy
this
and paste the email? Yeah, when you copy and paste the email
says,
address,
when you copy and paste, it's going to be already selected.
It's going to be
just
already
selected for you.
It's
and then
offering
you
you a tab shortcut to convert them directly to chips.
Got it.
Yep.
Is this for all editions?
I don't believe it said anything about. Hold please, I'm coming down. I don't think it said anything about it. I think the only one that I've seen that is version specific was the stopwatch.
Oh, did y'all hear that piece, everybody?
Which I think is so ridiculous.
Stopwatch.
And you picked like one of the most random ones. Like, why would you make stopwatch of all of them?
Well,
a plus only feature.
Because it's probably people's favorite. So I'll have to talk about that on Break the News to some stopwatch lovers on Tuesday, Amanda.
Let me tell you guys something real quick. I'm going to sidebar for a hot second.
We don't allow that on these
we're doing it.
Very professional podcasts.
We're doing it. You invited AF, you're going to get some unprofessionalism. So, you know the
I'm
game.
I'm here too.
Yeah, that's right.
She's like, wait, I'm unprofessional too.
You know the game in our updates chat, like for whoever can hit the last.
The weekend.
The weekly.
The weekend. Yeah.
So it was made abundantly clear last week that I didn't know how to play the game. So because Melissa was over there with my favorite Judge Judy GIF, and I'm like, oh, she's being a nice person and wants somebody else to post the GIF so somebody else can win. So I put it out there off of that, not realizing that you don't post the weekend GIF until the recap.
Yes.
So then when Fred did it, I was like, okay, now I know. But my problem is that if the bot's going to keep waiting until several rounds into happy hour before it wants to recap, like, I'm never going to win.
It was fairly late last time. I did notice.
It was really late.
It was like,
I was like, is it not coming?
No, it was like into the 5th inning of my baseball game. And I was like,
okay. So for those listeners who are like, what? I think I want to do this in the collaborative, in the forums too. So we have a chat bot in Google Chat that automatically, anytime there's a post on the Google Workspace update blog post, it gets put into that chat. Well, every Friday in the afternoon, it will do that recap, and we joke that's when we know it's the weekend, like that. It's the weekend SNL, the weekend
with
gift thing.
Craig.
Yeah. And so we're like, all right, it's time to, and sometimes it comes earlier, sometimes later, but now it's a competition where when that gets sent in there, who's going to be the first person who replies with "It's the weekend."
Right.
And so we're just finding out right now that Andrea had no idea what the
I
joke
had no idea
and
that there was
fun
like
was.
a recap post. I thought it was, and then here's me. I'm like, do I do it like when I'm tapping out for the weekend? Because I guarantee you, it's not when everybody else is tapping out for the weekend. Like, I'll call the weekend at 11:30. But like,
Andrea's like sending the weekend on Tuesday at 10 a.m.
right, we're out, we're
I'm out.
done. So yes, so now that I know how to play, like game on. But if it's after happy hour starts, you all win by default.
By default.
No, so that was one of the updates that
This
I'm
March,
looking
okay.
into more. And then I do want to talk about while we're in Sheets.
Hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Let's pop back to that little GIF with that update. Andrew, you mentioned the colors. That's just data validation fanciness.
Oh, is it not part of the chips?
That's not the chips. Just for
Oh,
everyone's clarity there.
Yeah.
That was just. Where did
Oh
it
my
go?
God, Melissa.
Hold on. I was already.
was
Yeah,
ever to get-
that's what I do in my sheet.
If I
Yeah,
were to ever get seasick, it would
There
be
we go.
Melissa
The pretty,
being driver.
Sorry.
the pretty colors are just data validation.
That's what I
Okay.
use in
Still
the
cool.
sheet that you're supposed to be in there updating the links.
Yeah, I do. I just didn't know that was data validation and not a chip.
Yeah, well,
But
so
that's
that's
good to
not
know.
that has not been there forever. The ability
No,
to
it's-
set
yeah,
colors on
it's
that.
nice.
So
Right.
it's newer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to convert the old way. You just have to right click into it and like edit, and then because
Oh,
There's a
It's
color
just-
option for each choice
Mhm.
now.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
that's nice. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
Can we flip over to the first open experience in Sheets? So I just scroll down a little bit there. Can we talk about this? Because I'm not
on
100%
Android
sure.
devices. Oh, are you switching your?
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Come on.
But I
what
don't
about
understand
it?
what is changing here.
Revamping the first open experience in Docs.
I'll tell you what.
It's
I mean, I can tell you what
only-
this is like from the iOS side.
Yeah.
First of all, there have been like 2 or 3 updates over the past few weeks that are like pushing me closer to the edge of Android again because I am sick and tired of being left
I don't know what
behind.
you're waiting for.
I know.
Android rules.
I can't even believe that you two are on this.
So I'm.
What is this iOS?
I have an
thing?
entire theory and
speak up?
story of why I have iOS, but we can say that for another time.
Game
Yeah,
after
so
party.
this is basically just making it to where if you're on slides or sheets, right? Or sheets or slides now, to where when you open it up on your mobile device, now Android, I should say, not any mobile device.
I was say because I
Android.
use Sheets on my iPhone all the time.
I use this all the time, right? Because when I'm traveling in airports and stuff like that, it's just so easy to be like,
Yep.
check something real quick. I can't.
Right.
Here's what it's doing. If you're opening up anything on your computer, right, you enter edit mode, assuming you have the permission to do so.
Correct.
On iOS, assuming previously,
Oh.
this
You have
is
to
not
hit the
case.
pencil.
Okay.
It's a pencil that you have to go tap. First of all, which is extremely inconvenient on a mobile device by itself.
Okay.
Like
I understand what you're
fat
saying
finger it
now.
all the time, and I end up hitting all these different things, and then you have to do all these things just to get to the point where you add like a character or delete something. And now
Plunky
on
for
Android,
sure.
it's just taking you there by default, like you would if you open it up on a
It's
browser.
much more like the web-based interface.
Yes.
The pencil. Why do you have an iOS device, LB?
I
Oh,
don't.
You don't have the
It just
update.
hasn't come to me yet.
Gotcha.
She
And
does.
did
She just
anybody
doesn't use
notice
it.
it's dark mode? Yeah. So this is the old.
Okay,
and
I
this
noticed
is
that
The
the
now.
old
old-
pencil.
Like
Yeah.
in my sheet, like I have the little pencil down here.
Oh.
Okay, so that's what's going to be made better when they eventually bring it over to the VIPs.
If
Because
they
that would be
eventually
really
bring it
nice.
VIPs.
Because I use that like daily because I budget in the sheet. Still, I don't want to hear about all these new fancy apps. I budget in the sheet.
So do I, Andrea.
So
Me too.
I'm constantly in the sheet. So that would be great if that comes through.
Look at us talking about 2 of the minor updates that I normally don't even talk about.
Listen, I'm an
on
underdog
Tuesday.
person. Like I'm an
She's
underdog
bringing those
rooter.
minors to the forefront.
You're a what?
That's right. I'm an underdog person. Yeah, bringing the minors to the forefront. I'm gonna to call them up. All right, Melby, what about yours?
Bringing them
What
to
do you
the
got
big
going on?
leagues.
You're bringing them to the big leagues.
Okay. I wanted to talk about a few things.
Let's bring up background to you. You've been over here DJing, but like,
Whoa.
what do you got going on?
Also, somebody else was DJing too, going back and forth.
Yeah, I called DJ. Don't touch my.
Yeah,
DJ.
but I think somebody was hitting the screen and the blank and not on purpose. Was that you? Okay.
I keep doing it when you stop talking, but yeah. Like I flip it back when you stop talking.
Okay. Well, I already talked about the sharing searchable term, but let's talk. Oh, did I bring over?
Are we gonna talk about chat spaces?
Oh gosh.
I have yet to go through the space gopher. But I also missed a whole conversation about the space gopher logo. I've been told multiple times that there's a space gopher logo.
There is. It's in the chats.
Yep.
Oh, is it in that
another thing that Well,
Yeah.
I don't have my
Kendall hooked us up with one that looks more official. I had Midjourney generate one. I had Dolly generate one. The Dolly one was quite scary. TBH.
Guys, when I master Midjourney, y'all are over. I'm gonna ruin people's day with the amount of Midjourneys that are gonna come through. I just can't figure out how to use it
Why
yet.
would it ruin our day if you got really good at Midjourney?
Because all you're gonna get from me are Midjourneys.
Oh,
constant.
so that okay.
She's going
to
communicate via Midjourney.
That's right.
She's going to communicate in pictures rather than text.
I already
imagine
so much better.
Whatever she wants to say, and then Midjourney's going
and
to.
And a Midjourney, oh my goodness.
So no longer is chat going to be text. It's just going to be Midjourney visualizations.
That's what I basically do. That's our Instagram.
It really is like all gifts at this point.
Yeah. I did want to bring up. So the searchable term, we already talked about that, a non-blog post. This one would be considered, again, on a Tuesday, a non-blog post update. And that is within our space management, just like shared drives, we see 2 new columns, history and space ID. And if we go in...
Say space ID.
I love that.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. It makes me think of like the Space Force maybe, and their like ID badge or like a whole ID of a spaceship. I don't know.
It sounds like an addition to the Space Gopher mascot.
Yes, like he needs an ID badge.
Yes. Yeah. So within Google Chat, I'm wondering, because of course I'm like, ooh, there's more data in here. Like why did they add this? What more can we do? So when we're in the space management, we can see the member count, the name, allow external users.
We're now managing space management.
We are managing space
management. It reminds me of some old video games like Masters of Orion. There, I thought I was managing space.
It's really your time to shine. Like this new lab tool, it is your time to shine. Like this, it's coming full circle for you, Chad. You got into this new role, and like, it's time.
Yeah,
it's time.
It's time. It's time for you to shine, baby.
Yes, but for the space management, you go into the managing of spaces, of course, but then you have to click the gear icon. So what I do for fun is on these types of listings and everything, I click the gear icon and I see if there's any add new column availability, and I add all the columns. Mm-hmm. Same thing I do for the Chrome device listing. And so when I go in there next, if there is a new option for adding a new column, I know it's new. So I went in there the other day, and history and space ID are in there. So you have to go in to the manage spaces, click the gear icon, add history, add space ID, and then they'll show up. And that would be specific to just you as a user. So since I did that, Andrea goes in there. She's not going to be, seeing it. But you can also filter for it now. But where my mind went is just, now as we're working with cleaning up our spaces, it's just an easier way to get the space ID here and then head in and pivot into the investigation tool. And
so the history on, are there instances when you would turn history off in a chat? Because that just means that you couldn't see like what we said yesterday, right?
Yeah, and it also means it's not getting kept in vault, correct?
Yep.
So
it's not involved. Okay.
So that one little piece would also allow you to, if you're trying to get your data retention and just overall space management, is seeing. Now you can't export this.
which is a bummer.
Yeah.
I would say, which is really weird.
With game, you can.
The space that time forgot having history off makes that all the more better.
That was me. I was trying to test something.
Oh, hold on. Is this new? Within spaces, what I'm seeing right now is in the filter, there is a filter for days inactive.
I am unsure.
I think that was there. I think I even searched for that on someone else's.
Was that even in my screenshot?
Let me.
Oh, yeah. It was, but still, days inactive.
I think that's been there.
Okay.
A stale space.
But you still.
Weird way to
I mean, I didn't. I'll point that out on next week. That would be nice. That's nice.
But you still had no actions. Is that correct? So, like, let's say you filter on that, and you're like, all right, these can all go.
Well, that is where
Gopher comes. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we get that image, and then when we do the video editing, that can be the thumbnail?
That just flies across the screen.
Space Gopher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We should probably use Kendall's version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, is there multiple?
Let me go look now, because I need to see what we're looking at now.
It looks more like our icons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. I feel like it looked like, wasn't there a space person in SpongeBob?
Yeah,
Sandy.
Sandy. Otter. Yeah.
Whoa, look at that engagement I got there just by
Melissa told timeout. She was not a space person. She was underwater.
Yeah.
SpongeBob
okay,
takes place not in space. It takes place underwater. So because Sandy was a land-based mammal,
yeah,
he had to have a breathing device.
She says, all right, I regret this.
Wow. I was unsure where this podcast would take us, but I never envisioned it would take us to the logistics of how Sandy the squirrel lives under the ocean. So
yeah,
happy Friday.
It would be more of a scuba suit than a.
It'd be a scuba suit, but it does look like an astronaut suit if we're being fair.
It does.
It does.
To be clear, that's how they sort of train, right? Is in that giant pool at NASA.
That's true.
That is true.
Okay. So then the conclusion is it does look like a spacesuit.
Okay.
It does look like a spacesuit.
That's what you just said.
You're okay. I'll give you that.
We'll give you that.
I love that tone. Okay, fine. Whatever thing. Yep. Okay. Well, so what do you guys think about my excitement for adding stuff into the management piece? The space ID, because if the space ID wasn't there, then I wouldn't
go into it individually.
I could still look it up by the name.
Well, I would imagine the space ID leads to API manipulation. So if you were going to kill those stale spaces with the other data metric you didn't know was there, you could just export that list to include the IDs and pipe that through the API and be done with them.
Yeah, I think the ID is much nicer too, because you could have people that have. Well, can you have chats that are the same name?
Yeah.
Like spaces that are the same name. So then, so if you try to search their name, you're going to be getting a bunch of them. So I do think that the ID is going to be a lot more helpful for troubleshooting and doing the API stuff, like Chad was saying.
Well, sort of like the alias in Classroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Bard. Let's talk about AI. Chad.
Well, first of all, Bard can't generate images, so that, I mean, Bing, who leverages OpenAI, can generate images. So come on, Google.
I called you out on using Bing the other day to Melissa too. So can somebody just high level the difference between Bard and ChatGPT for me? Like, what is there a reason to use one over the other? Should you use them interchangeably?
So ChatGPT is better so far. Okay. Bard is Google's. ChatGPT is based on OpenAI, which is Microsoft's. Yeah. Not really Microsoft's project, but they fund it a lot.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a Microsoft versus Google thing, but kind of on the low of Microsoft versus Google thing. Because I have not played with Bard at all, but I have messed with ChatGPT. So I wasn't sure if there was like a benefit of using one or the over the other.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. ChatGPT is limited to data prior to 2021, but Bard's more Bard's actually using real time, even if it's not as good right now.
Well, apologies for the Microsoft view of this, but the chatbot built into Edge now leverages Bing, which sits on top of OpenAI, but also accesses real-time web data. So like it helps you search it, gives you more up-to-date and recent based on what it finds in search results, and combines that with the OpenAI stuff. So if you haven't gone over to the dark side and tried Bing AI inside of Edge, it is really pretty cool.
So that's only if you're using Bing. I guess so. My experience then has just been using ChatGPT, like the interface for ChatGPT versus Bing, because I haven't.
Yep, it sits on top.
Gotcha.
It sits on top of it. Okay.
So if you feel adventurous, go check out that Bing chatbot. It's pretty cool. Have any of you tried? Have any of you tried Google's AI inside of Docs yet?
Personally,
No.
Where it says help me write whatever.
So that's Duet AI.
Yeah, Duet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure just yesterday I got into, like on my personal, I got into some lab, something or another, and I believe that's what it is. And I haven't looked into it yet.
That's what it is. Yeah,
it is.
If it's on your
okay, so I
account,
haven't looked into that yet. I did see on the Twitterverse today that they're like in London, they're Google for EDUs doing something like IT stuff, and I saw some of the pictures that they people were talking about Duet AI, which I found interesting because they haven't. I know we know some stuff and just some partner briefings. But I thought that they were going to talk about Duet AI during ISTE.
I thought they were too. That's why they brought it. They did not. Interesting.
No.
So I have some colleagues that work on the enterprise side, and they're most definitely talking about Duet in enterprise and building use cases and things like that.
So when it comes to chat,
it's pretty powerful. It is pretty cool stuff.
With Bard and Chat GPT, I use both of them, and for Bard, I use it for more real time. It can read like new web pages. So
which one?
Bard.
Okay.
So it's like the new search, and even if you're in the labs, you may be in a program that's search with Bard or AI in there. So I feel like that's search 2.0, whatever number we're on. I think we'll include some of that. Chat or Bard yesterday just did a update, and in that update, you can now do named and pinned conversations. That was a huge thing. So ChatGPT
had it.
You can go back and have conversations. They're named. Bard did not have that. It is there now, which is a huge thing. It can also now, you can upload images into Bard for it to use or this or that.
Yeah.
Yep. There's more languages in that. But I think there's two things. I think Google is actually being responsible in a way to not just be like, hey, we have all this stuff. Like what in their Google I/O, they talked about responsible AI, and we're gonna have metadata behind it for our Google searches to know where this image came from. And so they're kind of taking, I think, that approach. And so we might not be seeing like a ton of stuff from them. The other thing that I would say with Bard, it's going to integrate, or Bard, whatever it's going to be called within the tools, Duet AI. That's where I would use Duet AI or Bard, Google's AI, because I'm in Docs, I'm in Calendar.
Right, when you're
I can open up my other tab and I can do ChatGPT. But if you are a Google user, Google Workspace user, that it's going to keep you in there. I don't have to go out when I'm trying to do an image for my Google Slides to go to Midjourney. I'm going to go in there and now with Duet AI, I'm going to do bananas and baseball. Give me an image. There we go. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
So that's where I see the advantage of Google AI stuff winning with it right within their services. If it comes quickly and if it's actually good compared to ChatGPT.
Now I want to kind of go to Midjourney and type in "Imagine bananas playing baseball."
Right. It's something close to that. Yeah.
Second Friday funsies. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we think that this is going to be a problem for kids though? Like, because I know immediately when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, papers would have been so much easier.
Oh yeah.
Let me ChatGPT this and be like, and make sure you do it in APA referencing.
Right.
So,
well, and to be clear for our listeners too, with the Bard stuff, we don't have to worry right now, like for Bard, because remember Bard, how do you turn on and off Bard, Chad, within the admin console? Bard, if you want to have your teachers use Bard.
It's the experimental apps.
Experimental apps.
Right?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? And it's the only thing that's controlled.
Yeah.
This drives me nuts. Why isn't it a Bard on-off switch? It's experimental apps, and the only thing it controls is Bard. So I don't understand.
And it's the only thing there now. Like, but they're gonna probably add more in there. But so for over 18, you can turn early access apps, the additional service, on or off. I'd recommend doing an access group for that. But even if you have it technically turned on for the students, so you under 18 cannot currently access it. So so right now it's not like an immediate issue for that. Now that doesn't solve or any of students using AI. I mean, there's but just in regards to Bard being able to use it, you and your staff can use it, but your students cannot.
Yeah.
This conversation we had at Jameis was honestly, we had this at the end of the session, and it was just like, different thoughts and things like that. But I take the approach the same way I took the approach with YouTube 10 years ago was, can YouTube be a distraction? Yes. Do I think the educational value of YouTube is greater than its distraction capabilities? Yes. And do I also think there's a difference between discipline and technology problems? Yes. And so it's about, right, like these kids, when they graduate, they're going to go into the same world we live in now and have access to all the same stuff. So as opposed to restricting everything, like banning is not necessarily the answer to all things that you perceive as bad. One way or the other, it's about how they use the tool. Give them the guardrails to operate within, like what's acceptable, what's what, and then go from there. And I'm not saying I know what those answers are, because I'm not on the front lines like teachers are, and I know that's a complicated thing, but I don't think the immediate response is block it, right? Like teach them how to be responsible stewards of progressive technology like this.
Are we gonna have another thing with Canada and?
Yeah, that's right. I don't think Canada.
Canada. Is that what you were gonna say?
Well, I was gonna go a different way. I don't think you can use Bard in Canada from within the admin console unless they change that. So that's why Rob. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Gosh, where was that? I think it was in. I had confirmed it that Canada cannot use Bard when we're talking specifically Google Workspace, domains and turning it on or off.
We are going to have
Bard is not available.
There we go.
Wow.
Thanks, Rob.
We are going to have an AI in education session during our 4-part series. It's coming up at the end of July, July 27th. I think that one is. We're going to have some experts, an internal CDW resource. We're supposed to have a Microsoft and a Google resource on
is that a Microsoft focus thing or is that a Google?
No, it's open to the whole collab.
Ooh, okay.
So
yeah, Rob, I got a problem with that because I constantly just put things out there like everything is fine for both the United States and Canada, and then I got a big fiasco. So now I have to constantly ask, but I would have never thought to ask if Bard was something that was not available for Canada yet, which is crazy to me, especially if it's available like in the UK and stuff too. Well, now do we know that? I don't know. I'll ask Peter if he's used it yet.
Well, he'd have to have a UK-based tenant, right?
Yes. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. You're right. You're right.
Do we have
Curious.
UK-based tenants?
Not
I
that
don't
I'm aware
know.
of. I don't think so.
Eric, did you want to speak anything about passkeys, passwords, passwordless? I know we were talking about this in updates and analysis.
Passwords
Chad,
be gone.
Chad, you were in the chat. You were like, yeah.
I saw a thread
for
about this. I don't think I understand how you're
I'm
gonna go
so happy.
passwordless.
Passwords are so last.
Oh,
season.
they're just
They're just
totally
so ick
last
now.
season.
Yeah.
You need, if you're not enabling this on your personal account for sure. I don't know why you're not. It makes me so happy when I get to use it, and I do not get that experience with other two-factor authentication methods. Okay, like when I use this, I'm like so pleased that I live in 2023 because it's so great. You sign into anything, and then on your, it just uses your biometric stuff. So if you're on iOS or anything with the Face ID, it's gonna do that. If you're on something with the fingerprints, it's just using a separate device that you have, but still on that device using the biometric part of it. And it just gets you right in. And there was, I can't remember where it is. It might be on this blog post, Melissa, but it's something along the lines of saying like it's 2 times faster and 4 times more secure. And there's actually data there or a support article there to kind of take you back to those reference data. It's certainly 2 times faster. I can guarantee that much because I'm not having to race my way to the 500 authenticator apps I have for a million different systems. I can just go to it just prompts me, and I'm just like, boom.
Let me make sure I understand this because
God restate what you think it is. Yeah.
God forbid my grandmother hear about this on her forums or something and ask me, and I gotta tell her I have no idea. So if I'm on my laptop and I'm trying to access something and I'm got the passwordless option, is it going to say pull out your phone and look at it so it can verify who you are? Or is it going to use like the webcam that's on the laptop, or is it always going to rely on your phone?
Going to use that separate device. Yeah,
that separate device. So that way, obviously, it makes sure that it's you. You got your phone, because we don't ever leave our phones places without us now.
Because Windows Hello will work, I think.
Using the
and if so,
device.
Then I'm just not using it on that. Like I said, I just have it on like my iPad and my iPhone right now, and on both of them, it will do it for me.
Okay, I can verify that, but I think when I was trying to set it up on this, we were testing something in UNA, and Windows Hello came up as an option when I was setting it up on a Windows device. Okay. Which means it would be the on-device camera, but I'm not sure. I can further test that for sure. But
okay, so what about this?
All right, I do have to drop, team. I have
I
have a customer call I have to go to. So it's been fun. This is fun.
Yeah.
I hope you invite me again.
We will.
Or maybe I'll just randomly pop in when I know you're
That's the best way.
That's the best way.
Right. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
Hey,
thanks.
Bye.
Okay.
So,
to close.
I guess this makes sense though, because nobody's face card ever declines. Okay, we're there. So, but that's what it's essentially going to be relying on now, either your face or your fingerprint.
Fingerprint, right? And it's just, again, a separate way. And so, like, and the reason I put it on here, I would like, if you're an admin, and you're using Gmail, like, use this on your personal device so you can get a feel for how it operates, because now it's an open beta for you in your managed, right, in your managed accounts, in your admin console now for your users. And I do think, if there is any or has been any trepidation as it relates to two-factor, this is going to potentially, and I don't use this word lightly, be a panacea to some of those woes because of how smooth it is.
I got to Google all these words that you just said, Eric.
Extremely smooth, okay?
Now, but I still, I get it, but, and this is not a replacement for two-step verification.
I mean, it's just another method of doing it, right? It is still two-step. It's just a cleaner two-step,
not an
smoother,
actual,
faster, more efficient without having to scrounge around for your device. Here's what happens to me every time I have to two-factor into the billion things we have to log into. I get the prompt, I get to my phone after I scroll, and then I go through my entire list. By the time I get there, it's already expiring, which I know, first world problems, I know. But I would still much rather just be able to do this, and then I'm in. And it's so
I feel like I'm such an unsecure person because I have two things in my authenticator.
This would allow for different kinds of passwordless items that's more than just your face or your
finger,
your fingerprint.
What do you mean? Restate.
I'm at the we talked about this in updates and analysis, and I feel like there was like I get it for personal use, but I'm wondering for in a school where if I can just use my phone, like or a YubiKey right now, like is that I understand that if having two things that like you have physical things is technically data wise more secure. Is it more secure when you're in a school? When I have students that could be taking these physical things if you're a teacher and you have them laying around.
Like you're saying, like,
I just wonder if they are
phones.
if there's a different concept or a different.
But I guess I'm still confused on what you're describing because at the end of the day, it's still even if they're just lying around and someone can grab it, it doesn't matter. You're like they're not you,
right?
Unless
so it's not your finger.
Mission Impossible, your
face.
fingerprints off of you. Like they're not you and they can't do it. It's still gonna be their face. So even if they do have that second factor around, and you might even argue it's more secure than a security key because then you can grab the security key, the USB thing, and put it into whatever.
Or it's like open up your YouTube app and click yes, like to verify you. Anybody at that point can grab it and do that. But now it's requiring a biometric of your own.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the types of passkeys that you'd be able to use, it's not a password.
So it's more than just a biometric, is what you're saying.
Sorry, I'm trying to look up some of our notes.
What's a YubiKey? Help me out here. Is that like a USB? And they just dropped the S and went to UB?
Wait, what?
Right? It's like a $20 little USB thing, right? Like you just.
Is it a USB that you just pop in?
Yeah.
Interesting. So like, okay.
Yeah, Rob's got a good point. He sums it up perfect. The passkey is as secure as your access to the passkey device, right? So like if you don't have anything on there, then of course, right? Like I know people that just will, or there was a time when they just did not have like passcodes and stuff with their phone. They were just like, it's just easier. I'm like, yeah, but your bank's on there. Why would you do that?
Right. Right. Yeah. And I mean, I do, and to that note, yes, like there are some teachers in some schools that ban phones in the classroom. Like they have to keep them in their locker. Do kids do that? No, but that's their rule. So then they essentially probably couldn't use those options for the biometrics unless they've got, I don't even know if they make them anymore. I would have to assume. There used to be when we were looking at Chromebooks, the fingerprint scanner right on there. And they had a way for you to do that for your biometrics. But otherwise, yeah, like so for those districts that are trying to ban the phones from the classrooms, then that would be a problem for them.
Well, I think I just maybe have too many things I have to sign into then, because for me,
you do. I got LastPass and then CDW, and I'm like,
I have 4 different authenticator apps. I'm pretty sure Google, Microsoft, LastPass, Steam.
I'm boycotting the Microsoft one until somebody tells me for sure I have to have it to log into our CDW stuff. If not, like the text still works when I logged in to put my time off in the other day. So I'm assuming that July 6th deadline was a scare tactic.
The other thing when we were doing the testing, I don't think this works on logging into Chrome OS.
For the Chrome, really?
Amanda, do you remember when we talked about this?
I don't remember it not
being it's beta, right? Like,
true.
And two-step verification in general, like, is kind of quirky and weird on Chrome OS. But that's one thing that it seemed that, and I think it was even Chad that tested this, doesn't seem to be working for logging into Chrome OS only when asked to reauth.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that instance either. It was usually just when I'm doing it from an application, like pretty much. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that on my personal account.
Yeah.
I think if you do, you'll get as passionate about it as I do.
Look,
when you start using it, I promise you that
when you two-factor that many things, yeah. Can we put a pin in this and flip to another thing? So there was an update about being able to negotiate time directly in Gmail to schedule meetings.
Hold on. You just missed. Oh my God, you just missed like an absolute perfect ending You just said, can we put a pin on this?
Yeah.
You could have went directly into pinning your most common thing in the admin console.
Okay.
I am so disappointed. I was like, she's doing it. And you were going to be like, what are your first 3 pins in the admin console now that we can pin those settings?
Well, let's pit stop it to that one. So what are your top 3 that you're pinning?
Oh, what? Hold on.
Are you not ready?
Gosh, if I had to. So now that we're able to pin in the admin console, when you hover over, just like when you can pin in the investigation tool or the audit log, because there's so much crap, I would say, and I haven't done it yet, I would say definitely the first thing I am pinning is my API controls.
Yep, same.
Now,
API controls.
Until this whole approval thing starts, or do you feel like you're in there enough in day-to-day
I
life?
believe in my job role, I believe I will be changing up my pins
frequently,
seasonally.
Like it's like a MySpace like background.
Ooh, what
music?
My dad is it? Is it your top? What it used to be
Top 8.
Top 8.
Top 8. Yeah.
I gotta change my. That's what we'll ask Amanda on Tuesday. Who's in your top 8? Ooh.
Yeah.
And there's always the thing you checked after school, and if you got moved around, you're like, "Whoa,
yeah."
what happened
That's why you always had to put in like the band or the artist in the first couple, where it's like, you know,
like you're still nominated and you're still mentioned, but you're just not number 1 no more.
So I would say API controls, and then I would say the audit log investigation tool, and then honestly, it would only be maybe the overview page. Do that right now. The apps overview page. Yep, that's actually what I would do, is the overview page for apps, because what I like to do is go to that page and I look at the numbers for the core services and additional to see if they've changed, to see if there's something new.
Okay.
Yeah, so API controls, the overview page, and then the audit log are my 3 pins.
Got you. All right, Eric, what are your 3?
Yeah, I think for me, and I'm trying to see if I even had them over here. API controls for sure. Investigation tool, assuming that I have that, because if I did have that, I'd be on that almost every single day, I feel like. Chrome user and browser settings would be my other one. And I know you can do 5, but I feel like I would only be in, just thinking of me, like I feel like I'm only in 3 often, even.
Oh, is it 5?
I thought it was 3.
I thought it was 5. Maybe if it is,
I don't know.
I'm
gonna try to pin another one real quick. Hold, please. I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, no, you can.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was 5. 3 is about probably all I'd be doing myself. But again, like, just depends on how much you manage every day. But for me, it'd be 3. Like, it would definitely be API controls, Chrome user and browser settings.
Yeah.
And investigation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Chrome user and browser settings.
I was gonna say that's one of mine. I did the devices, because that's like the hot one of Gopher for Chrome's not matching up with what it says in the admin console. API controls I do have for right now, as people are starting to mess with stuff, they're also turning off access to their labs tools. And then I do have the investigation tool and the apps list pinned as well for the 5, just because those are just the hot topic ones that I'm always checking in regards to labs tools. But I do like those, but I would agree. I'm going to end up flipping these around, I think.
Yeah.
As I go.
Amanda, what were yours?
I would probably do definitely API controls and then the investigation tool. The third one might be a wild card.
Like your rotating one?
Yeah.
So that's a weekly menu. What's the special?
Yeah. What's the special?
Yeah. I like that you can pin things, especially because they like to keep moving things or renaming things. Like, don't touch these ones. Like, I need to know where these go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, don't touch
my dark mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't touch my dark mode. Okay. Now
that could be a show title. That could be a show title. We're taking, options for show titles. Don't touch my dark mode. Space Gopher.
Why are there so many different shades of red?
Why is there an astronaut underwater something.
What about the game? Like when we were talking about the game. And then here's my sister. Because I was on FaceTime with her when I was talking to myself about the podcast prep and I was making breakfast, and she goes, "You don't talk about the game." And I'm like, first of all, I'm too old for whatever that was. Second of all, I'm talking to myself right now. Just sit over there.
Are you sure you're not talking to me and Gaff Test in a different meet?
I probably could, honestly.
Okay.
All right, so back to the Gmail portion of it. Now we use Appointment, obviously. I don't know that I go back and forth on if I like that or not. But internally, when we're trying to schedule things, especially in the summer where it's so crazy, I do like that you're able to negotiate time and put your time in the email right when you're
Like how
going
they
back
use the
and
word
forth with somebody.
negotiate.
I know. Well, I was like, what are we going back and forth in an email
Mhm.
instead of like within calendar or you propose new times and stuff? That back and forth irritates me. Because half the time you don't get an email. It just shows in the calendar appointments. You got to be paying attention to your calendar that somebody proposed a new time.
Yeah.
So I do like that. And when I was looking at this, it looks like it comes through in that appointment scheduler type of a format. Like it gives them that window and then they can pick their slots or something like that. I think that again is something that we'll use a lot more. I'm going to try to use a lot more when instead of just saying, look at my calendar and grab some time, that kind of gives me a little bit more control of pick a window in here. Like this is what I really want to talk to you, but I'm trying to be a nice person that says, yeah, just pick an open spot, pick a spot within this window. And it's all right within there, so I'm not flipping tabs and things like that too. So it's a little bit faster and streamlined for you there.
Okay.
100%.
All right. And I forgot I was going to have us do this. And Amanda, you can fly by the seat of your pants or
off the cup.
Off the cup. The pick of the weeks.
Yes, right. Our pick of the week.
The pick of the week. Eric, what is your pick of the week? Doesn't have to be cool related, just like a cool thing.
So I'm still kind of on what Nate, and I don't want to butcher the last name, Luatonen from the Ambrose School. We did the live stream, I don't know, when was that? 2 weeks ago, Melissa? We were talking about the end of the summer road trip, and he ended up posting something about these System 32 comics, and I've basically been devouring them all because they are great. Here's the thing, like I wish I would have known these around. I would have included these in basically every communication I had with my non-technical folks for sure, right? Like my teachers, because it just gives you some brevity.
This
it's so great, and I would just find ones that are like relevant
Kirby
to maybe what you're trying to communicate.
I gotta know.
Yeah, like it's so great, and again, it just kind of like lightens everything up, and I don't know, makes you feel, makes them see you less like Skynet and more like a human. And I don't know, I really do think it does drive some points home too, right? If it's you're just giving them blocks of text and that's all they see, like it's so sterile and cold, and this is just kind of like, and have a great weekend or happy Monday, right? Like just something small like this, I think goes a long way, especially over time, right? So Nate's the one that showed this to me, and I've been.
So wait, you make the comics? You put the.
I don't know if you do or not. I think it's just a guy or someone is making these up and
these
putting them on this
amazing.
website. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Tackling.
There's a repo of all this. Okay.
I am unsure if any of them are unsafe for not safe for work. I do not know the answer to that.
Okay, we'll just remain
the ones I've
here.
looked at though have been pretty
so
clean.
Far.
So, but yeah, really good. Like again, like one of those things where I know what it's like to have to overturn a culture in which they hate IT people.
Yeah.
I walked into that and they despised you because of what the person before you did.
Like immediately.
And so you have to build that camaraderie over time and stuff like this. That's how you do it. So
yeah. Agreed.
Thanks, Nate.
And I'll link that in the show notes. I'll share after for those listeners. I will share that out. Andrea, do you have a pick of the week?
I don't know that I necessarily have a pick of the week. I was
all right. Well,
this.
You had 2 jobs, and this was one of them.
If I wouldn't have spent 8 hours trying to figure out how to make a podcast work,
that is legit. Okay. I'll allow it.
Skip me and come back. No, I'll say it. It's not an update, I don't think. I think
Sounds good.
as I'm starting to learn more about like the ChatGPT and how to use the ChatGPT, I am very much excited about that. I don't know that I'll do Bard. Like I just got to find one and be good at one. Okay. But I think that'll help not only with the content, but then when I am blanking on the Friday funsies, like help me out, babe. So I'm excited to dive more into that now that the Summerfest is over and I can open my brain up a little bit. We can do that.
Okay. Mine is a little bit general. Pick of the week. I have been, for the last couple of months, I've been using really speech to text and text to speech. It really started on my phone when I would like binge watch shows or rewatch shows, and I would go to the Reddit threads for like the rewatch and realize that like, oh, I'm staring like a lot. Well, I would just go into my accessibility settings and do select to speak, right? So a little thing pops up, just click on that, and then you highlight, it talks to you. That is now actually what I do when I'm looking at Google Updates and blog posts. I've got that showing on my taskbar, just click it, and then I can just highlight. And so I'm over here kind of taking notes and I can listen to it. It's just,
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she just likes to talk to herself.
And then I do the talking too, like if I'm all this crap in my head in words, like whether it's through ChatGPT or just trying to do a paragraph and then I'll edit it. So I'll do the key combo on my Chrome OS keyboard of the circle button and then D, and then it does the voice thing, and then I'll talk, and then I'll hit the key combo again, and then I have a couple sentences and I don't have to type it out.
What circle?
Or I should probably just get a new keyboard, because I don't know, I've been annoyed with my keyboard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's within accessibility settings, and we all know accessibility settings aren't just for certain people or certain groups.
Yeah.
It's to make things more accessible to every person.
But what's the caveat that you found out because you were using accessibility? What wasn't working for you?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So I'm
trying to search through here, to see what it was that stopped working.
It was in Google Docs. In Google Docs, I went to tools or the help, and I enabled the accessibility stuff. So within tools, accessibility, and then you do turn on, this is what it was, turn on screen reader support. Once you did that, it seems to take away certain stuff that can't be read, which it took away the ability for me to highlight in a doc. And normally the bubble comes up for commenting. So I posted in the community, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I turned that on. As soon as I turned that off, I was able to highlight something in a doc and that normal pop up with the comment on there. Yep. So that's why when I have a newfound appreciation for these smaller updates there's an update on Chromevox works with this, or, because I guess I didn't realize that when you are in these certain modes, like the screen reader, not everything's going to work with it until it's developed to work with it.
Yeah.
We're pretty, when you're not relying on that, you don't realize how much people who use it need it. Same thing for images and alt images and
that
kind of thing. So
for sure.
So that's my pick. Amanda, anything that you can think of? It's all right.
I'm gonna say this one because I just saw it on the chat, but the adding hyperlinks in Google Chat. I like that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of those links.
Another one that's not for iOS just yet, but hopefully.
I'm a little salty about it, but hopefully it's coming.
Yeah,
well, I can use it.
I do like that too because it does make it cleaner.
It does.
I was wondering when that was going to come. I was wondering.
A separate URL every time. I'm like, check this out, and it's like this big block.
It's so ugly.
I hate it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the image that pops up on top of it, so it makes it even longer.
Well, you can X that out.
I did. I do know that.
I was like, ooh, she's going to know this.
I did see that one. I did see that. But no, I'm actually surprised at how long that took.
Me too.
If we're honest. Like, if you can do it in everything else, Google, why not in chat?
Time for
Or I'm
our
out, but
off the cups.
We can off the cup social and be out of here. Thanks
Yep.
everybody for watching. And
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. We'll tweak it later so I don't have a big description taking up all the chat. And if you are watching or not watching, but if you are listening, ping us, let us know. Oh, the questions that we didn't even get to, but going forward within the live topic, if you're watching live, the questions will be converted into a forum post under the new pre-games, and you can continue those. So we're going to keep the questions that are here now just so we can see how it looks, and then we'll adjust for the next time to better facilitate that piece. But again, this one, we're kind of combining a few ideas on just a fun way to talk about updates. We're trying to focus more on the audio part of it, and whether it's going to remain the pregame or be the after game, if it makes more sense, getting that audio portion.
Yeah.
And get our podcast done. Have you guys heard of this new podcast thing? It's this new concept. Yeah.
New concept. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Brand new.
Yeah. All right, friends.
Okay.
Last social cheers. If you're listening, cheers yourself or the screen, whichever. Just don't crack it.
And I got to figure out, where do I stop this? In Big Marker, in Live Topics, or YouTube?
I think you stop it in YouTube first, and then we'll stop it in Big Marker.
Okay. Cheers. End stream. All right.
Bye, team.
Bye, friends.
Yeah. All wave so we can get a good goodbye.
Yeah, because I got yelled at yesterday. She's like, you didn't even make any good funny